Hello, we're here today with my friend Frank Harris.
Hello, everybody.
You can go check out his Facebook page at Vote Frank Harris. I have one of those too, but what's even better is if you go to my website and you check out the candidates page. We have a whole list of candidates there. So if you're not so lucky as to live in District 2 and be able to vote for me, and you're not so lucky as to be able to vote for Frank in District 6, there's still hope. There's more candidates. And if you're anywhere in the state of Kentucky, there's Brad Barron. You can find him on my candidates page too. But
I need to add that to my page.
Yeah. But we're not going to talk a whole lot of half and half, I guess, today as far as politics. But I went to the convention. And the convention was, it's a split convention. We did the online portion. We voted for our presidential candidate and vice presidential candidate. And I get home and I'm exhausted. And I get up the next day and I see something about somebody hanging the governor in effigy at the rally. And I went, oh, crap.
Yeah, that was a lot of people's reaction. And then their second reaction was that at your event?
Right.
My event.
Well, I knew right away you wouldn't do that.
No, I wouldn't do that.
No. For libertarians are extremely non-initiation of force. We don't advocate that at all. But it did enter my mind of, how did Frank fail to get that stop? But wasn't your event at all?
Wasn't my event. My event was on Saturday. And let's come back to the question after we get done with this question: is how close was the election for the LP presidential race? My event was Saturday on May the 23rd. We had our event in the front part of the Capitol, on the front steps. The event on Sunday, where the effigy thing happened, was in the back of the Capitol, in between the Capitol and the Annex. Completely different event. Was not my event at all. I did happen to be there for about an hour and a half. I was there from about 1:30 till about 3, and it was so hot. It was miserably hot, and so I saw everything there was to see. And
you missed one thing, Frank.
One thing I didn't see. So apparently the effigy thing happened at the very end, sometime after 5 o'clock. And I haven't seen video. I don't know the particulars. I don't want to say who did it because I don't know for a fact. The two names I've heard, one was the organizer of the event, and the other was one of the local presidents of one of the 3%er groups. So I'm not going to say, who they were, because I don't know. I truly don't know. I think I know who they were, but I don't want to say without knowing for, 100%. But it was in very poor taste. It was very bad judgment, in my opinion. Like I said, I wouldn't have done it if I had been there. I would have tried to stop it, and I wasn't there, so I'm not responsible for it. But I've gotten hate mail for it. I've got a lot of questions from people. I knew that would happen, that there would be people that thought, well, I know Frank was having an event this weekend, and then that story came out, and I knew that there would be people that would think that it was my event. So I've done everything in my power to try to let everybody know, hey, that wasn't my event. That wasn't me. I had nothing to do with it. Wasn't even on the day of my event. So anyway, I've done everything I can do, but I'm still getting hate mail for it. Some of it very colorful.
Yes, I read one of the colorful ones. I was thinking, you kind of at least have to appreciate them a little bit for the effort on that. I mean,
yeah, the hatred. The funny thing to me was funny/sad is that one of the letters I got was from someone who works in the healthcare field, and she said something about, I hope no nurse wastes their time helping you in the event that you get the coronavirus. And I hope they don't waste a ventilator on people of your type. My type? I mean, people that sell comic books? What? Like, what is my type exactly? So, it's sad that somebody in the healthcare field would feel like that somebody shouldn't receive healthcare. If
Sure.
I was of the snitching variety, I would find out who she worked for and report that to her employer.
Yeah.
I'm not that kind of person.
Yeah.
I guarantee you she would tell my employer if the situation was wrong.
Sure. I mean, that's kind of where libertarians are in a asymmetric struggle. Is we have these values and principles, and they're always getting in our way from doing the fun stuff.
Well, yeah,
no doxing people, no hanging people in effigy.
We feel like socialists will at some point become violent, and that if socialists ever get power, they will enforce their power with force. Libertarians don't believe in those things,
right?
So we're at a big disadvantage.
Right. I don't want to just like run off socialists screaming socialists are innately violent. It's not like that. But guys, read your history. It's inescapable. I mean,
it's built into the system.
The problem is as the system fails. Oh look, we've lost 3 viewers already. Our socialists are gone. We can talk frankly now. No.
Well, they were worried about their social credit score. So
there you go. But no, as the system fails, people don't go, oh well, gee, I guess this isn't working. We should go back and do the thing we were doing before. They double down on it and triple down on it and quadruple down on it, and doubling and tripling and quadrupling down on it always means more force.
Right.
So we weren't, and we're crazy close to that. I mean, that's why DPA to me is the scariest thing inside of all of this. I mean, not to say that COVID-19, excuse me. I like to actually refer to it as COVID-19. I'm going to turn off my phone. I like to refer to it as COVID-19 because there's lots of coronaviruses. You've probably had dozens of coronaviruses. Something like 60 or 40% of your colds are coronaviruses. COVID-19's a very particular one.
Yeah, I didn't even know that a coronavirus was a type of virus. I thought it was one specific, this one. It wasn't until somebody pointed out to me that I think it was a package of Lysol or something had something about prevents the coronavirus on it. Like, how did they know before it was even announced? But apparently it's been, coronaviruses have been around for a long time.
That's right. It prevents colds. And I mean, that's the thing is we do have an opportunity to change some of our habits to maybe we do want to explore, changing our life a little bit to slow the spread of coronaviruses, flu viruses, just viruses in general, not because of this particular event, but just because as we've globalized travel and we've become more integrated, everything travels a lot better. Maybe we should change our habits, not because of this event, just that this event is kind of a bit of a wake-up call and we get to go, oh yeah, we could do these things. That wouldn't be all bad.
Well,
not all of them.
I feel like, what I believe about this particular virus and viruses in general is that once it hits the general population, there is no stopping it. I mean, it's going to go everywhere. It's just a matter of slowing the transmission rate or not slowing the transmission rate. So I believe we're going to find that almost all of us have had it and that most of us didn't even know we've had it. I'm not afraid of this particular virus. I certainly think that the shutdown was a very, very god-awful idea. We haven't felt the pain yet of the shutdown because people are still getting relief money and things like that. But I believe that we have lost jobs for years that will not come back for years because of businesses closing, et cetera. In some cases, people will have lost their life savings, their life's work. It takes a long time to save money. And when you're having to pay for rent, utilities, and other things on a building, and you've got nothing coming in, shutdowns and closures are going to be rampant. I feel sorry for business owners right now. I feel sorry for employees who have lost their jobs. And this was completely unnecessary and ineffective. The hospitals were empty virtually. And so people are delaying ordinary procedures because they don't want to catch the coronavirus. And I believe you're going to see hospital closures over this.
Right.
And so
well, we already have.
Yeah, you already have. And the other thing that most people have no idea about is the printing of money, and how the printing of money is going to lead to inflation, debasing of the currency. And I believe what they're going to try to do is come up with a new digital currency. This is going to be a more worldwide currency. The banking cartels that run the Federal Reserve are the same banking cartels that run most of the banking systems around the world. And so the bankers don't care what currency it is. They're in control of it no matter what. And so they would like to see a more universal banking system. They're talking now about digital currencies, and having to have the social tracing apps on your phone and things like that. You're going to have to prove you've had vaccines in order to get on a plane, or in order to go to a baseball game or a sporting event, or any kind of gathering of any size. So it's the virtual mark of the beast.
Right. So let's unwind this just a little bit, because I do actually occasionally, not a lot, but a little bit, I come to the defense of the governors. Just a bit. Forgive me, but I do. but
I'm looking forward to this. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, the FDA. The FDA only allowed one test. It didn't work. It was a CDC test. Other tests were illegal. The doctor, I meant to look up her name, the doctor who proved that we had community spread of COVID-19 used a test that was illegal. If not for someone breaking the law, we would not have learned we had communal spread when we did. We had.
Do you think, and I don't know, I haven't really done research on this. How long do you think that the coronavirus has been in the U.S.? Since December?
Yeah,
November, maybe, possibly.
Probably not November. Probably not
December.
Yeah, it could have been January, December, January, something around there. We also had data from overseas, and everybody says you can't trust China. You got to remember, we have a boatload of businesses operational in China. Even without, CIA spooks, we have a lot of intelligence out of China.
When they come up with a less painful test, I don't want to get the swab up halfway up your brain. I don't want to do that one. When they have a less painful test, I'm going to go get tested to see if I've had it. I don't know.
No. That one only tests if you currently have it, not if you
currently have it. See, right. And can they even tell if you've had it, or can they only tell that your antibody counts are elevated?
They can tell your antibody counts are.
But they don't know why.
They can tell you have antibodies for that. The problem is the IgG antibody. I mean, it's also apparently an antibody for some other coronaviruses. So they may be essentially confirming you had a cold last year.
Well, I think when it's all said and done, we're going to find out that 80%, 90% of the population had it.
I don't think that's true yet.
When we all had it, who knows? But I predict that most of us have already had it.
I don't think we have. I think it's a very low number, but I think it's going to be somewhere around 50 to 70% before we're done with this. And what really freaks me out is the people who are really susceptible. They're being exposed to that risk at the same rate, approximately, as people who are likely to get through it just fine. We have asymmetric risk. We should be treating this asymmetrically. We want, we've got the entire population exhausted of being locked down. And instead, we should be working hard to keep the at-risk safe,
Right.
while the rest of us actually burn through it a little faster. But back to what I was saying, we told everybody this is fine. Even the CDC was saying this isn't likely to impact your average American, or your average American isn't at risk of this. Now, on the risk one, that was true, but they were doing absolutely nothing to get out the warning that, hey, let's work on slowing the spread of viruses. And I actually was trying to figure out how to do that in February. So this isn't completely a hindsight thing for me. I was showing people curves of, what it looked like 2 to the 24th, which gets you to about 16 million, versus 1.9 to the 24th, which gets you to about 4 million, versus 1.5 to the 24th. And people panic. They go, 16 million? No.
We live in a society where we're free to travel. Do we really want to go back to a society where we're not free to travel? No. I don't think so. If something really, really catastrophic hit, like if Ebola, emerged, I guarantee you most people would stay at home voluntarily. You wouldn't need a government order. And that's the difference between a libertarian style government and an authoritarian style government. If Ebola was going around, I certainly wouldn't be giving Uber rides. I've only driven one day in the last 7 weeks. I've been working on my eBay stuff, staying at home. But how do you go to the grocery store without coming into contact with other people? How do you do anything? I've gone to the grocery store numerous times. I've gone to not Home Depot. I've gone to Lowe's. I've gone to Walmart.
Right.
How do you not go shopping for food and stay away from everybody? You can't do it.
Here's the thing, is going back, because I went through those numbers kind of fast. Here's the thing, is, I gave the number for 2 to the 24th versus 1.9 to the 24th. There's a subtlety in there. Let's say we just wash our hands. And we do reasonable things. We just, be more mindful to not cough on each other, make a point to, wash our hands after we cough, and stuff like that. Just things that are courtesy. Just step up the courtesy a bit.
Basic hygiene has really gone a long way toward eradicating a lot of diseases.
Exactly. So let's just say hypothetically, I don't have proof for this. Let's say hypothetically that enough of us do that on average, instead of one of us being sick, we give it to 2 people. 1 in 10 of us, not all of us, but 1 in 10 of us are successful enough that they give it to 1 other person instead of 2 other people. The way that works out is after a year, as it's grown, that society that just succeeds 1 in 10 times of not spreading it to the second person ends up infecting 4 million people instead of 16 million people. That's profound. That's 12 million people off of stepping up common courtesy.
When you're going to the grocery store and there's 200 people or 100 people in the grocery store, it doesn't matter if there's 1 person in there or 50 people in there. You're breathing the same air that they are. You're walking past those people. Mm-hmm. And so I think what's wrong with a lot of people's thinking is that they are seeing these high mortality rates. They're saying, and I don't know the actual numbers for Kentucky. I'm just going to make up a couple numbers. So they'll say, there's 1,000 confirmed cases, and of those 1,000, 120 people have died. So the mortality rate's 12%. No, the mortality rate is not even close to 12%, because those are just the people that have gone to be tested. For every 1 person that's being tested, there may be 100 people or more that haven't been tested that have had the virus. So you can water that number down by a factor of maybe 100 or more.
I should have interjected as soon as you said it, and we got lost in conversation. But when you were talking about the swab up the nasal cavity,
Yeah,
yeah, I've had that. It's not that bad.
the brain scraping.
It's not that bad. I actually
No.
I no. I did it myself under observation.
Ah,
It's one of those things you might have to stop your 3-year-old from doing just because they don't know to not do that. But
yeah.
and like the second swab, actually it did make my eye water, but it's one of those things where it feels like your body's trying to flush something out. It's not like it was that painful or anything. It's just like, ah, but
I don't want it.
well, I'm not
I'm a
saying
wimp. I'm a wimp when it comes to pain.
it doesn't hurt though. I mean,
Okay.
it doesn't hurt.
Well,
I
we had a saying in high school: no brain, no pain. So I probably wouldn't hurt me anyway.
I'm not advocating them recreationally or anything, but they're not that bad. But anyway, the problem with the governors is, we had basically a week between, hey guys, maybe take this seriously, and governors looking at the transmission rate.
Yeah.
And we had no time to show the panicky governors that just normal behavior will change this. And I even have a video. I went and looked back.
Be more careful.
The big curve in the data happened less than 10 days before the governor started getting involved. The big curve in the data really just came from, hey guys, be careful. That's where the big curve in the data came from.
The slowing down?
Yeah, that's where the big slowdown came from. The big difference we made was, hey guys, be careful.
But what gets me is the fear that people have and the irrational behavior I've seen, where people just think, just because you're not scared to death of it, you hate old people. No, it's not the case. Like, how does your brain work like that? I don't get it.
They watch too much TV, man.
I think it's watching too much TV too. They're being conditioned or programmed. When you see the same thing 100 times a day, you're going to start to believe it. That's why I don't watch TV. I want to be able to think for myself.
Speaking of thinking for yourself, you're not only thinking for yourself, you're running for Kentucky. Let's see if I can.
As are you.
Yeah, that's the wrong one. Oh, you're way down there. I had our yeah, but I wanted to talk about your platform.
Yeah. Well, my platform is pretty simple, really. It's almost the exact same platform as I had in 2018. I've made one tweak to it. So my current platform is I've combined my first two planks from 2018 into one, which is balance the budget and pay down the debt. And I haven't recalibrated my debt calibration, my debt figures yet, because we've added what, 4 trillion, 5 trillion, and soon to be $6 trillion to the debt.
Yeah, I think 6 already.
So that's my first plank.
I don't know.
2 is follow the Constitution. So that was sort of implied, but I never said it, and I think it's important I say it. So that's my new second plank. My third plank is that I will not take part in the congressional health care plan or the pension plan. And the fourth one is I will only take half the salary of the congressman. They vote for these benefits for themselves, and it's wrong. I mean, who wouldn't like to be able to go into work and say, I think I deserve a raise. I'm going to give myself a raise today. As of today, I'm getting 20% more money, and I'm giving myself a very generous Cadillac healthcare plan. So, Thomas Massey does not take part in that. My understanding is he does not take part in the congressional healthcare plan. And he and Rand Paul both give money back at the end of each year. And I think each of them are near the top, if not at the top, of money given back to the taxpayers, of money that they just didn't spend. Yeah. So they run a very frugal office. They're very frugal with how they spend their resources, and that's to be commended.
Well, my philosophy on that's just a touch different. Not the frugal bit. I'll absolutely be frugal, but government hands me a dime. I'm using it to fight for liberty. So
Yeah.
the people on the staff, you're on my staff, you're going to work your butt off because we're going to be, yeah, I'm going to spend every penny, man. I mean,
I like
not to just spend it, but
use it for paid political ads showing how corrupt government is. That'd be a good use of the money.
Well, that's what I'll do with my salary. That's what the salary's for. I can make donations and donate to Brad Barron and his senatorial race.
Taxpayers' money. That's my contention. So I like what Nigel Farage did in the UK, where he used his position as a member of the European Parliament to undermine the European Parliament. I want to go up there and undermine big government. I don't want to undermine government per se. I just want to put the federal government back into its constitutional box.
Sure.
And get it back to a constitutional basis. Get rid of all the stuff that government's not supposed to be doing, and have it only do the things that it is supposed to be doing.
Okay, I got an example for you.
Thomas educates people all the time with, here's how this is why I voted against this bill and all that. So I'd like to, try to, as much as possible, explain every vote that I take. And I would be voting no a lot. And my reasons for voting no would be very common. They would be things like, one, this bill is not constitutional. That's probably most of them. Two, they didn't give me time to adequately read the bill. They dump these 1,000-page bills on your desk with 45 minutes to read them, and you're just supposed to take it on an act of faith that it's a good bill. I would have to vote no on every one of those bills that hit my desk.
Yeah. How can we know if a bill's we can't know if a bill's good or not until we find out how many people it sends to prison? I don't how does this work?
Like Nancy Pelosi famously said, we have to pass it to see what's in it. That's the wrong philosophy, guys. That's the exact wrong philosophy.
Right.
I would, in my idea, I haven't said this in public before. I've told people in private, but my idea would be is, you're given so many staff members as a congressman. I don't know the exact number, 15, 20, whatever that number is. What I want to do is, if I were to win my race, is I would go to Thomas Massey and say, Thomas, I'm going to vote the same way you do on almost everything anyway. So is there any way you need more staff? What I want you to do is take half of my staff right now, get them trained, and then give them back to me, and I'll give you the other half of my staff. So that way I've got a better trained staff. You get some extra personnel, and it would be a win-win,
No, cross training's never a bad idea. I love cross training.
Yeah. And I'd be curious what his opinion on that would be, or if he has maybe a different, better idea.
Sure. Yeah. Jacob Clark says, you need 1 day to review per 200 pages.
Yeah. I mean, these things are very highly complex, and quite often they reference like one line of a veto, or one item of the bill, one line of the bill might be, a reference to another bill. Well, then you've got to go read the other bill. So no, I think it takes a lot longer than 1 day to read 200 pages to really understand it. But most of these bills too are so complex. And they're, omnibus bills where it's really more than one bill. It's 100 different bills combined. That should change. No bill should be more than one thing. It should, it should be germane to the issue at hand, and it should be under 5 to 10 pages at the most. So these budget bills and things like that ought to be maybe more generalized, and just say, well, instead of giving line items for how to spend it, just say, well, the Department of Education gets X number of dollars. It's up to them how they spend it, and let it go with, I don't know. I mean, that's an idea, but I think that you have to stay within your budget. You have to stay within what you have to spend. You shouldn't be going beyond that. And at the same time, you should be paying down the debt.
So legalize it isn't actually part of your platform then? Or does that fall under constitutional?
Well, no, it's I do want to legalize, marijuana and recreational marijuana. And we want to end the war on drugs. Most libertarians do anyway, that the war on drugs is not constitutional. It's counterproductive. It puts people in prison for basically substance abuse
Right.
as opposed to actual crime. And, I have this argument with people all the time. Look at the damage that alcohol does in our society. How many people die all the time from, liver failure and different diseases caused by alcohol, drunk driving. And, there's a whole range of things that of spousal abuse and all kinds of things that created by alcohol. And quite often people that believe in drinking are 100% against marijuana. And I'm like, wow, the hypocrisy is just beyond me. And how they don't see it is beyond me too.
So I smarted off to someone one morning and said that I bet flipping caffeine kills more people than marijuana because I'm a caffeine junkie. I looked it up.
I'm a chocolate junkie.
Well, there's caffeine in chocolate too.
Caffeine's not good for you, that's for sure.
Not taking away my caffeine.
Well, you're not taking away my chocolate either. and chocolate's loaded with sugar, and sugar is terrible for you. So I have to try to cut back on sodas, but like I'm drinking grape juice, and grape juice is loaded with sugar. Usually if I go out to eat, I'll drink unsweet tea and or water. But every now and then I have a soda. I tell you, when you stay away from sodas, even for just 1 month, stop drinking sodas for 1 month and then go have a regular soda and it'll knock you down. It's so sweet. And boy, they're so good.
Yeah.
I do enjoy them.
For those who don't know me real well, I used to weigh about 100 pounds more than I do now.
I didn't know you back then.
Yeah. I weigh about 165 these days. I used to weigh about 265.
I weigh 280. Yeah, and that's down from 295.
But staying away from sweets was a big part of it. It's not that you can't eat sugar and lose weight. You can eat anything and lose weight. It's really just accounting. You know how to empty your bank account, right? You spend more than you put in it.
Yeah.
This is just a biological bank account, boys and girls.
Less,
you know how to empty it
more. I lost 37 pounds one time in my 30s, and it was almost effortless. I mean, it seemed effortless. I did 3 things. I cut my meat portion in half. I quit drinking sodas, and I started working out. Now, the working out was not effortless. I was doing aerobics and jogging and lifting weights. So that was not effortless. But the pounds just melted off. I mean, quickly. I lost 37 pounds in roughly 3 months. And it seemed easy. And then I just lost the will to do it. I just like, man, I didn't care. I didn't like, man, I know I'm eating bad, but I don't care.
Yeah, I think for me, it was doing the accounting and being brutally honest, because your brain will play little games with you. Oh, you can have it. No, you can't. Just do the math. Trust the math, not your instincts, not your brain. Your brain will lie to you. The math will not. And as you run into challenges, you just have to solve them.
My brain would never lie to me. That's what it just told me. I will never lie.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust you. Believe it.
I believe my brain. Yes.
All right. So you and I once had this conversation about the Tesla not being ready yet, autopilot on the Tesla not being ready yet.
Yeah.
And I got some numbers for you.
I feel another chocolate bet coming on.
No. And I haven't been keeping up. Have I won yet?
No, it's not there yet, but it's getting better all the time. But you still have to be ready to take over. It's not fully autonomous or whatever the word is.
Oh, that. Yeah. Well, I mean, if you even the earnings calls, even stuff like that, he emphasizes, that you need to be prepared to take over. Every time I turn on autopilot, the car lets me know to keep my hands on the wheel. If I leave my hands off the wheel, it actually blings at me. It'll eventually get upset and get rid of autopilot for the rest of the trip if you refuse to keep your hands on the wheel.
Huh. How much warning do you get when the system cuts out?
I don't know. I've never actually done it. I think it tries to pull over and park, but I've never done it. We can do that one day. You and I will
There's
go
some
down the
places
BG.
in Cincinnati. There's some places in Cincinnati I would love to see autopilot work.
Okay.
Because I don't think that it would.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of places that just won't navigate
Right.
right now.
Like construction areas, I just don't see how it could possibly figure out some of the weird things that go on in a construction area.
Yeah, it catches cones now and stuff like that. But I thought this was some interesting stats. Is for somebody driving without autopilot on in a Tesla, without autopilot on and without the passive safety stuff on, they average one accident per every 1.42 million miles. If you at least let the passive stuff be on, but you're not using autopilot, they have a wreck every 1.99 million miles. Mm-hmm. When you're actually on autopilot, you average an accident every 4.68 million miles. And then you compare that to the NHTSA in the US, on average, you have a crash every 479,000 miles. So you're like this far off from an order of magnitude less likely to have an accident.
But how does it react to other bad driving? Like there was one trip I was on, and through no fault of my own, I was driving properly on the highway, and for Lord knows what reason, there was nobody else on the road in sight. Mm-hmm. It was late at night, and I'm driving about a quarter of a mile behind somebody in front of me. And for whatever reason, I guess they wanted to go to a rest stop and they passed it by mistake or something. They just stopped in the right lane. They didn't pull over onto the shoulder. They stopped in the right lane. And I'm driving and I'm thinking, well, they were too far away for me to tell what lane they were in. So I knew they had stopped, but I just assumed they were on the shoulder. As I'm getting closer, I said, well, daggone it, they're in the right lane. And then that same trip, I'm going up a hill in the left lane, passing somebody. And for whatever reason, they decide to come over into my lane. And if I hadn't been really quick and good at video games, I pulled over real hard and slowed down at the same time.
Right.
And I was able to avoid collision. And they didn't realize that I was even there until they almost hit me.
Right. Well, the lane change thing, it depends on where they're positioned. Usually it just kind of applies the brakes, like to back off the person that's edging over.
Well, there was no edging; they just came over.
Yeah, I've seen videos of like on interstates it rapidly changing lanes for stuff like that, but I've never experienced it. But the person stopping in the middle of the road, that it's very good at. A few weeks ago, because I've had people like pull out like way ahead of me, like crossing the road, and the car will kind of brake more aggressively than I would, and I'll be like, they're gonna go on. So to me, half the time that's a little annoying. But maybe a month ago, somebody pulled out pretty much right out in front of me, and I mean, she just dug the nose in the asphalt. I mean, I was about to kiss the windshield. I was like, whoa! But but it was. I was paying attention. It was just quicker than I was.
Those incidents, I was paying attention both times. What if I hadn't been paying attention? I would have. That in the case of the guy pulling over, man. I mean, if I hadn't really been paying attention, I would have gotten sideswiped. But I've got a Camry, and with the cruise control, it automatically slows down and things like that when you're approaching somebody from behind. But what it doesn't do a good job at all is changing lanes. So when you're like when you come in behind somebody and it slows down, then when you change lanes, it doesn't resume speed until you're all the way in the other lane. So
Oh
instead of
yeah.
accelerating around the car, it goes left and then speeds up. And that's not a normal way of driving.
No. No.
Does the Tesla do that, or does it actually do it the right way?
It kind of depends on circumstance. I mean, it certainly aspires to do it the right way. It does it more
Yeah.
right than what you're describing,
Yeah.
but it is a little timid for my taste sometimes. You know, because timid isn't safest.
No, sometimes you have to be aggressive to be safe. I mean, you have to.
Right, sometimes. So it fails me a little sometimes like that. But yeah, it even if you're behind a car that's, you know, say you've got it set on like 60 and the car in front of you is doing like 55, and you hit the blinker to change lanes, it'll accelerate as it switches lanes.
But praise be to Elon Musk and all the wonderful things he's doing. I've learned more about Elon Musk in the last 3 or 4 weeks than I ever knew
Right.
before. And so in my quarantine, I've been binge watching Elon Musk videos and Quentin Tarantino films.
Well, was it his contribution to economic philosophy that won you over?
Well, I mean, I like what he's doing with telling California to go to hell. You know,
Sure.
that's a wonderful thing. Telling California, this is the last straw. I'm leaving California. I love that. That's, you know, that's classic libertarianism right there. But I just, you know, he's on 5 or so different fronts. He's changing the fundamentals of 5 different industries at the same time. You know, he was SpaceX and Tesla and the Boring Company and the batteries. And there's another one. Well, there's Interlink. I hope he doesn't succeed at Interlink. I do not want a brain chip implant to get
Neuralink.
I would OD on it. I mean, my God, I'm an internet junkie already. If I had the internet in my brain, I would never sleep a wink. You know?
Well, yeah, but there's some people who can't use their limbs and things like that are rather eager for it.
You know, and I keep waiting for that breakthrough in. I'm drawing a blank here. You know, people that are paralyzed, nerve tissue damage, and things like that. The nerve tissue's still there; it's just not connecting. You know, it's like a wire that's been cut in half, and you can't splice it back. One of these days, they're going to figure out how to regenerate that, and then being paralyzed will hopefully be a thing of the past for the vast majority of people that are paralyzed.
Right.
But in the meantime, yeah, I mean, if they've got a neural link that'll do the same thing, hey, I'm all in favor of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, they've got limbs now that can use your brain. You know, you think of your arm moving and the prosthetic moves. Now, it's not good. It's not, I mean, you know, it's not real good yet. Eventually it'll get there. Eventually, technology has a way, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, Neuralink's meant to address that better. I don't know. I'm excited about Starlink myself.
What's Starlink?
Well, Starlink's the satellites. They're putting up the communication
5G thing. I didn't even mention that one.
I don't think it's 5G, but it's
I think it is.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it is.
It's
going to be a system of what, several thousand or so satellites, and
yeah, I think it's something like 9,000 to 12,000.
They're going to be crisscrossing and handing off information. So one satellite will be going across, and in 5 seconds it'll pass off all the information it needs to the next satellite. How in the world are people smart enough to do that? It's amazing.
Right.
But then there's AI. You know, he's talking about AI and how AI will be the last thing that mankind ever, I should say mankind. I don't like the word mankind. Humankind will ever invent. He says, you know, once artificial intelligence becomes viable, that there's nothing we can think of that artificial intelligence won't have already thought of.
Yeah, it's blatant sexism in the Terminator saga that they don't acknowledge that females will contribute to building Skynet too. They can do it.
Yeah, they're just as bad as we men, no doubt.
They are.
Yeah. So I've said for years, I've never had an original thought, or I doubt if I've ever had an original thought. Who knows? I mean, whatever original thoughts I've had are very trivial. But I'm never going to contribute.
I've never heard it put that way, Frank.
Well, I mean, think about it. I mean, is there anything you think you've ever done in life that someone else hasn't already done? I mean, seriously. I can point to one or two things that maybe I've done that are very, very trivial that maybe no one else has ever done, but nothing of any substance. I'm a mathematician. And
hang on, Josh Cheeks. I guess my question will be ignored for a more important conversation. I saw that. I'm sorry, man. I saw some comments. I didn't actually see a question. I saw him commenting on always voting third party. And I saw him advocating you shooting for, there's your question, shooting for 2% this year. I guess he's picking on you because you didn't get 2% last time.
No, I didn't even get 1% last time. I got 0.09%.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying for this time is somewhere in the 10,000 vote range. Last time I got 2,000 votes. This time I would like to get 10,000. I would like more. Trust me, I would. But that takes money. And I guarantee you, even if I owned every minute of airtime, of TV time, radio time, etc., you've still got the vast majority of the population is still going to vote for their own party, no matter what I say or do.
Right.
And that's just a fact. And I'm not one of these people that goes, I think I can win this race. No, I think I can raise awareness of the Libertarian Party so that more people vote for us this time than last time. And maybe next time, even more people will vote for us. We're growing. Right. But when and I use this analogy all the time, when Toyota and Honda first came to this country back in maybe the early 1970s, it might have even been before that, they didn't take over the car industry, did they? I mean, at the time, they didn't even have the best cars yet.
Right.
I believe the libertarians have the best ideas, but it takes time for people to absorb them. And it also takes time for people to leave their own party. It took me a while to leave the Republican Party. So even good ideas take time to absorb. So I'm not, I don't want to be unrealistic. I want to be realistic. I think that is long-term a better strategy.
Right. Well, I mean, that's part of why I do this little nightly broadcast. I'm trying to get a platform for you and our other down ballot candidates, and even some people who are just running elsewhere in the state and up ballot candidates. So these are all the I just put here all the Libertarian of Kentucky. I'm messing it up. Libertarian Party of Kentucky's candidates. If you want to go to my website and check all those out, it's not just me and Frank. It's me, Frank, Brad Barron, Jacob Clark, Tim Philback, Amanda Billings, several more. I've gone through maybe a quarter of the list, but there's a lot of us. But what's something everybody who watches this, something you can all do is you can react to this. Like you can like it or love it or laugh at it.
Share it. Sharing it.
Share it. Yep. Share it. Comment on it. Go ahead and engage. Ask me or Frank a question and make suggestions for what we should talk about instead. And Josh, I'm sorry I didn't recognize your question as a actual question. I thought you were kind of taking a little stab at Frank there.
How come I don't see the questions on my screen?
Because you're not cool like me.
Well, obviously. I'm the most unhip person on the planet. I've said that repeatedly over the years.
It's probably a screen real estate thing. Are you just on a phone or are you on your computer?
No, I'm on the computer.
I
don't see an option for seeing the questions. I don't. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I found
Oh,
them. There they are.
yeah.
Okay.
There you go. Now you can.
Okay.
He's ready now, Josh. If you wanna hit him with some more
I'm gonna read
questions,
it.
man. You're gonna what? Well, don't get too distracted on him because other
Well,
people are
I'm
watching.
sorry I'm not more exciting, but truthfully, the libertarian platform is pretty boring. We just want to leave people alone. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? I mean, what is it exactly that would make my campaign more exciting? You want me to have showgirls? I mean, the
That's a
libertarian
good idea.
platform is limited government. Limited spending, following the Constitution. It's kind of hard to jazz that up. I'm so sorry that my platform isn't more exciting. I could promise free big screen TVs like the other guys, but that wouldn't be very libertarian of me, would it?
That's where we missed out. We should have went with the free pony candidate, Frank.
Well, free ponies, that's a whole nother issue. I'm willing to give away free ponies.
I was, yeah.
That's where I stray from the libertarian platform.
You're pro free pony.
I'm a free pony kind of guy.
Well, I mean, if you look at the money we're shoveling out right now, it's basically a pony a month. You get a pony a month.
And Josh, feel free to run. If you don't like my campaign, feel free to step up and run yourself. It's a lot of fun, let me tell you. You get
I don't know how
all kinds of people every day.
I don't know how well Josh knows you, man. He might think you're upset as opposed to having.
Oh, I am a little upset because people that have never done it have no idea the aggravation you go through. No idea. And the people that complain the most are usually the people that do the least to help. I would throw that out there too, Josh. Are you helping anybody? Are you helping anybody at all?
Well, he was watching us.
Yeah. And criticizing
us.
But he's not really helping anybody, is he? No.
That's okay. He might not have even meant it in a snide way, Frank.
I don't care. If you're not out there helping, then keep your little comments to yourself.
I think it was a fine comment, Josh. You can ask me if I'm going to try to hit 2%. I'm gonna try. I don't have the experience Frank does.
I had $2,000 to spend. $2,000. So, and I can only run as hard as the help I get. And if nobody's helping, then I can't really run that hard. And that's just a fact. I had no money last time. I didn't get my job as an Uber driver until July. So I had no money coming in and very, very, very few campaign contributions. And when I asked for help, I had to beg and beg and beg, and most of the time couldn't get a single volunteer. So that's just the way it is. People are busy. And so you can only run as hard as the help you get. Right.
There's a lot going on. We all have a lot to do. Honestly, I mean, most years I don't help. I mean, I throw money.
I've given money to many candidates. I've walked for many candidates. I've walked miles and miles.
You have
all kinds of weather for anything from city council up to U.S. Senate.
That's how I met you. I met you. You were helping me and David
on the campaign trail.
Yeah, collect petitions.
Yeah,
but I did that in 2014. I'm doing this in 2020. But like 2018, what did I do for Frank? I threw some money at you.
That was good. That's more than most.
Something. But yeah.
I feel like this time around, I feel like the party's more behind me and our other candidates. In 2018, I didn't feel like the party was really doing that much for me. I almost didn't run this time because of that.
I think we're more together this year. But everybody out there, time, talent, money. I mean, look at this. I'm trying to learn how to do. It's more disorienting than you think, but time, talent, money, whatever you have to contribute, come help out one of us. You could help out Frank, or you could help out somebody even as cool as me. I'm a lot of fun to work with.
And our candidates are set for this time. So saying maybe finding new candidates, Well, that's not going to happen for 2 more years. So that
Right.
that little comment right there is not very helpful, is it? You know, this is the hand we're dealt. We got to play this hand. In 2 years, why don't you run, Josh? I'll help you more than you've helped me. How's that?
But I don't know where Josh is. Maybe he's
Either.
down. Maybe he's down by Amanda Billings. Maybe he can help out her.
Well, he must be in my district because he said he voted for me. So.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
I'm apparently behind on these. Okay. Now you're seeing comments. I'm not. That's okay. That's okay.
No, that's the one you saw. That one you just didn't read it.
No. Okay. Well, it's like those 1,000 page bills. Well, we've got to post it on the screen to see what it says.
Yeah, I mean, to my knowledge, I could be wrong. I never met Josh in 2018. So, I'm glad he voted for me, but I never met him, as far as I know.
We'll keep voting for Frank.
As boring as I am. Yeah.
Frank's actually a fun guy to hang out with. He's always an active person. Get out there and pound some pavement with him. He will be there pounding pavement with you.
Well, what I'm going to be doing this time is I'm going to be going to high visibility areas with my signs and just talking to people and being visible. I found that last time the door-to-door thing didn't really have a big effect.
Okay.
We were going to, what were identified as libertarian households, and maybe half the time or more, the person that we thought lived there didn't live there anymore. So the information we had was very outdated, and we did reach some people, no doubt about it, but we were only reaching one person. If I go out to Triangle Park with my pro marijuana signs, I reach thousands of people. People are jumping out of their cars to talk to me. I mean,
which isn't safe.
No, it's not. It's not safe. But in general, traffic is stopped there. You've got lights everywhere, and the lights stopped, and people are making turns and all that. So when they get out of the car is already stopped. But that's where I can reach the most people. You have to go to where the low-hanging fruit is, and that's where the biggest low-hanging fruit is.
All right. So I want to let people know what tomorrow is about, and then we'll let them have the rest of their evening. I think tomorrow is going to be a really exciting show. If you are somebody with some passion and energy and want to actually do something, join tomorrow. I'm going to be talking with Adrian Southworth. Adrian's Yay! Yeah, yay indeed.
I've known Adrian since at least 2007.
Adrian is passionate about transparency in government, and she goes after government and she drags out the deep, dark secrets that they don't want out.
She is so good at everything she does. She's an amazing human being.
Tomorrow,
she's been wise beyond her years since she was a teenager.
Tomorrow, she's going to teach us a little about how to do that. So I'm
I want to watch that one. I'll watch that one.
Yeah, that one's going to be awesome. So come back, watch that. It's going to be awesome. If you know Take Back Kentucky people, ping them, let them know. But yeah, if you like transparency, I'm all about privacy for us, the citizens, but government doesn't get privacy. Government gets transparency because we own them. That's the way it is. And we need to know what they're up to. So join me tomorrow. Adrian's going to teach us a little about how to do that. Have a great night. Thanks for joining, Frank.
Thank you, Robert.
I got to learn to get my hand in the screen. Have a good night, everyone.